up in Rockhampton in Queensland. So today is Monday the 15th of April 2024, and we're here at the what's going to become the Beef Week site, or what they call Beef 2024, and that is the Rockhampton Showgrounds. So, and Rockhampton in Queensland, Australia, for international viewers. And why we're doing our live today from Beef Week, or from the site that's going to be, is, you know, the whole reason that we've been touring up around this particular region. And so Beef Week, for a start, or Beef 2024, runs from the 5th of May to the 11th of May 2024. So, you know, that's a little bit of when they have it. And one of the reasons why we're doing it today, we're broadcasting from the showgrounds here, is because the purpose, or one of the purposes of our tour up into Queensland and central Queensland, we did a presentation here in Rockhampton on last Saturday, and then yesterday, Sunday, we did one at Emerald, which also is in the middle of the beef heartland, some of the big stations out that way. So we've really been pushing the agricultural side of things and bringing messages to the people. And the messages that we're bringing to Beef Week, and it is just fortuitous that this is happening in only days from now. And this is a once triannual event, happens once every 3 years, is that, you know, our message of bringing to the people here and the farmers and the community the fact that the beef industry is scheduled to be shut down. Totally, completely, is scheduled to be completely destroyed. And so we're doing this live from here today, because later on this afternoon we're flying out to go back to Brisbane, and then getting on another plane and heading across to Western Australia. So we'll be back here in Queensland for Beef Week, and we're planning on picking up our bus from Brisbane, where it's getting a lot of the signage done, and a possible stop at Bundaberg on the way up before we get up to Rockhampton for Beef Week, or maybe we'll stop and have a look at Bundaberg and a couple other places on the way back. Just depends on how the timing works out and what we can get organised. So I thought we might just go for a bit of a walk along here, and if we see, we've got the banners up. They've been putting them up for quite a while now, and Rockhampton is really starting to get into the spirit of the Beef 2024, and we're starting to see all over the place stuff to do with Beef Week. And I just thought, we've got our banners here, these are on the fence, but if we pan across the street, Nick, if you wouldn't mind, what we can see on the veranda there of one of the local pubs is they've got statues everywhere of beef cattle. And when you go through Rockhampton, this is all over the place. Very much similar to in Shepparton, North Central Victoria, where our dairy industry is, well, it's being wiped out as well, but where it used to be, they've got a lot of statues of cattle in Shepparton and Marupna there, where, you know, the dairy industry is fairly, it's not too good now, but it used to be fairly strong. So here in Rockhampton, obviously the beef industry is big. They call this the beef capital of Australia. And I say to them, it's not going to be for much longer. And this is our message that we're bringing. So we might continue around here, and we'll just have a look at the showgrounds here. This is the entrance to the showgrounds, or one of them, obviously. And here we see the Rockhampton Agricultural Society. Entries here, attractions and animals, all the normal stuff you'd expect to see at the showgrounds. If we walk around here a bit further, bit more signage, so people from out of town can certainly understand where this is being held. And if we keep going around here, we'll be able to have a look through the gates at some of the construction that's going on. And we were talking to one of the blokes who's involved with this with the beef week here, and he said the construction's been going on for quite a while. So if we look through here, we can see these huge big marquees that are being erected, they're being constructed. And from the other side of the showgrounds, there's a huge amount of activity. We've got Manitoes running around everywhere, building materials, construction people. They're really going to town on this, and they're still, virtually a couple of weeks away. And it's in full scale now. They're transforming the showgrounds into virtually a small town, really. And if we have a look at up here a bit further, we've got more of the Beef Australia signage here. We see along here these little orange. They've left a heap of fire hazards on the side of the footpath here, so we don't want to get too close to them in case they burst into flames and blow up. Seems to be a still a regular occurrence with this electric vehicle stuff. So we might clear off from here while we're still okay. We don't need any third-degree burns before we get on planes and head off. So the meetings that we've been holding in this region, where we've been talking to farmers and other community members, you know, we're starting to get some of the farmers taking notice of what we're saying, because when they listen to the presentations and they sit there for an hour and a half or a couple of hours and listen to all the information, then they start to see sense. And a lot of these people then ask very excellent questions. And you can see that they're starting to understand what's happening. They're starting to get the straight shooting information from Billboard Battalion, the sort of information that they don't get from their so-called farmer representative lobby groups, and they don't get from the likes of MLA or any of the other organisations that are supposed to represent our farmers. So once again, the question is, why are they not being told this by their representatives? You know, they talked, a bloke was talking this morning there, he's fairly high up in the organisation of Beef Week here in Rockhampton. And, you know, we were hearing about how many of the politicians, the Prime Minister, the Premiers, and foreign politicians and ag ministers and all that come to Beef Week here in Rockhampton. And I find it bizarre that they have open door, open arms policy to the politicians who are in fact in bed with the World Economic Forum and so on, who want to end the beef industry. You know, many of these farmers don't seem to get it, that the very politicians that they bring here and they shake their hands and, you know, they try and make out their best of mates and so on, they just don't get it, that these are the people who are setting up the destruction of their industry, of their lives and their farms and the whole lot. So this is what we're here for, and it's a tough gig getting into a lot of the farmers who are, as I said, rusted on National Party or Liberal supporters. But we're starting to see cracks in the armour, and we're starting to see our farmers are asking questions and getting very concerned. And this is what we need, because we've seen things just in the news last couple of days talking about, and when I come to this from the point of view of the big picture, I want people to understand. We've seen reports now, I'm receiving reports about AFP are now starting to call for citizen militia to be set up to try and help with the rollout and the control measures for the next pandemic. So the question is, how do they know there's going to be another pandemic? And, well, I tell you that they know it because the government's the ones who are going to release the pandemic. They're the ones who are deliberately creating it. But this tells you that all the things that we've been saying about the big picture stuff are correct. And if we remember back to Event 201, where they set up and did a trial run for all this so-called pandemic. We're seeing this now with the, as I said, the AFP trying to get public militia who are being set up to help them control the public when they release the new pathogen and when they start to bring in the permanent lockdown measures. So these are some of the things that we spoke about, and a lot of our farmers now are looking at this stuff going, well, hell no, something's very, very wrong. And it looks like what Farmer Wade and Billboard Battalion have been saying all along is absolutely correct. So that's what gives us the knowledge and the information to know that the beef industry is due to be shut down. So we might just walk back this way a bit, and I want people to know that come another couple of weeks, we'll be flying back up here to Brisbane and coming back to Queensland. We'll pick our bus up, and we're going to bring this back to Rockhampton, back to Beef Week. We're going to be here, and we've been talking to a few people about possibly speaking at Beef Week, which, you know, a lot of these people, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to know about it. So that might be a bit tough, but we'll set up somewhere here with our bus. We've got plenty of supporters here in Rockhampton who are now saying, well, we can help you to display signage, hand out pamphlets and leaflets and so on, and really get on the job to push the issue of the winding up of the red meat industry. So we'll be back here to deal with that. We hadn't planned on going across to Western Australia, but as you know, we've had calls to go over to WA, so we'll do that probably for a couple of weeks and then do what we can there and then get back here, because this is fairly big. And, you know, we're not trying to frighten the hell out of people, but we really are, I suppose, to some degree, but in a controlled measure, in a controlled way, where people, okay, they get frightened, they need to be. They need to be very, very frightened and concerned. But having said that, forewarned is forearmed. And I'll say that again. Forewarned is forearmed. And if you're forearmed, if you know what's coming, you can prepare and you can fight against it. And that is our whole purpose here. We're not here just to frighten people and say it's all over, you're going to lose your farms, you're going to lose your businesses, you're going to lose your families. But if people do nothing, this is exactly what is going to happen. And I'll say this again. If people do nothing, then that is precisely what is going to happen. And it's interesting to me that many of these scumbag politicians and the Prime Minister and these other parasites who they're going to invite to this Beef Week are the very ones who are going to shut them down. I find that remarkable. And I find that it's not funny, it is bizarre that they would embrace with such passion and gusto their own, let's just say, executioners, to use an analogy. And they don't even realise it. They don't want to realise it. And so many of our farmers, and I can tell you, I know a lot of the people who, you know, they're the more richer, the more influential kind of farmers, you know, they love nothing more than to be able to say they're good friends with the Prime Minister or the Deputy Prime Minister or the leader of the Nationals or whatever. They love being able to drop names and tell you how much, you know, they know them and how good of friends they are. But at the end of the day, that's going to cost them. That's going to cost them everything. If they don't get in this fight and they don't help Billboard Battalion with what we're doing, and they don't start to get on the right page, then they're sitting there shaking hands with the smiling assassins. These are the facts. And once again, if the Prime Minister wants to debate me on live-to-air television, let's do it. More than happy. Because people would very fast see that what I'm saying is true and correct, and what the Prime Minister is saying would be lies. Total, absolute lies. And they are working for the World Economic Forum. They are working for the UN and the WEF. And they are in the business of destroying Australian farming our food production and our agriculture. So we might just go sway a bit, and we'll look at what we're doing here. And we'll get back to, here we are, gate 10. This is one of the entrance points to the Rockhampton Showgrounds, where they're going to have the beef week. And like I said to many of the people who I've spoken to so far, Beef 2024, Beef Week, happens once every 3 years. And in my opinion, I'm not sure they're going to have another one. If they think they're going to wait for 3 years to have Beef Week again, then they might not be having Beef Week at all, because there might not be much of a beef industry left. With the bringing in of the digital currency, the digital identification, the 17 sustainable goals, with all the measures to try and get rid of eating meat, I'd say to all the beef cattle farmers around Rockhampton, around the top end, right throughout Australia, in fact, that you better understand your time is up. Your days are numbered. And this is an intentional attack on you and your families. And I know many people might not want to hear this. Well, that's tough, because you're gonna hear it one way or another. Whether you hear it from me, and whether you hear it in a time frame where we can actually do something about it, you're going to hear it, whether you like it or not. And that might be a bit in your face, because that's how it's intended to be. And your governments are setting up things that are going to be 1,000,000 times more in your face. And as we're seeing with the farmers throughout Europe, they're now protesting their heads off, because they have realised their governments working for the World Economic Forum are shutting them down. This is very, very real. And I know everybody's busy, we've all got work to do, but if you don't take notice of what we're saying and you don't get in this fight, you're going to have a lot of time you won't have to worry about. You won't have work to do. You won't have a farm. You won't have a business. You won't have any money, and you will be locked up. It's that simple. These are the things that they have in plan, and I can provide all the evidence to prove that. So I suggest, as we go around Australia, we're starting to make impacts. We're starting to have an impact, and more and more of our farmers need to hear very, very clearly this messaging. So I'd say to farmers, get onto your representative lobby groups, get onto your politicians, and say to them, why are you not telling us about the Great Reset? Why are you not telling us about the fact that they're going to wipe out the red meat industry and, in fact, all of our agriculture? Get onto your stock and station agents, your real estate agents, your bank managers, accountants, business advisors, the whole deal, and ask them. Be very, very serious and very persistent. Say to them, what we're hearing from Billboard Battalion is real, and this is serious. Once again, if you've got any sitting member of parliament, I'm happy to debate them, no problem at all. Or I'm happy to meet with them and say, here is the situation, this is what's going on. Do you know about it? If you don't, why don't you? Did you vote for this stuff? And we need to be putting it on the people I've just mentioned who are involved in your businesses every day. I'm happy to put together some seminars to deal with these people. If we've got the stock and station agents, because keep in mind, they're only people as well. They have bank accounts, they have property, they got money in the bank, and I'd say to them, not for much longer. And it's time that they start to get with the program and understand what the hell's going on, because we need to bring them on board, and we need to get them in this fight, and we need to get the recognition from the industry players, and we need to get the numbers to grow from the ball carriers in our communities. And these are the people I'm talking about. So that's a little bit from here in Rockhampton, the beef cattle centre of Australia, the capital of Australia. That's what they tell us. But as I said, that's not going to be the case for much longer, because nowhere's going to be the beef cattle anything, or the sheep, or our piggeries, or our chook farms, your eggs, whatever you get, whatever you've got going, it's going to be over unless we fight it. And like I said at the meetings over the weekend, and I've said time and time again, tick off the things they're doing. Tick off the things that they're calling conspiracy theories. Tick off the identification bill, the digital identification bill that was passed by the Senate just recently. Tick off the digital currency, the programmable digital currency that they're bringing in. They've already told us that it's on its way. It's coming. They're doing away with cash, and they're putting us into a situation where you won't be able to spend your money. They will stop you from spending your money right across the board. Look at the things that are happening with, as I said, we've got the AFP now are wanting to create public militias to attack you. To control you, to help with the pandemic response. And make no mistake, we're looking at a barefaced, blatant attack on the country. Now, the things I'm talking about here have happened. They are rolling this out. It is happening. So for these who think it's not, you better get your mind right. I'm not playing games. I'm not mucking around with all this. Oh, you've got to talk to people so nicely and not upset someone, and, you know, they're not ready to hear this. Well, stuff that. We don't do that garbage, because I'm here to tell you, if you think that that's the way to deal with it, then when this hits and it's on its way, it's almost landed. When it hits, you're going to get a hell of a big more shock than anything I'm telling you, because when you finally realise your life is over and that is where we're going, then you're gonna have a bigger shock then. So like I say, I'm not worried about, you know, people who tell me, oh, you know, you can't say this to people. Yes, I can. I just did, because we've been saying this for a long time. We've seen it coming in. It's getting clearer. It's getting faster and louder, and it is correct. So I'm not interested in wishy-washy crap. I'm not going to tell you, oh, you know, this might happen. No, it's going to happen, and we have almost lost. So we need a mass rising of the Australian people right now, because your lives are about done. They've almost completed their attack on us. So you can make a choice. Stick your head in the sand, not want to know about it. Oh, it's too hard to hear. Or your life is going to get a million times more hard. So, as I said, you might not want to hear this. Well, I guarantee you, one way or the other, you're going to. You will not have a choice. You will not have a choice. They are unrolling this stuff right now. It's almost complete. If you thought that what happened with the last lockdowns and all the rest of that crap, if you thought that was bad, if you thought that was a problem, then they are planning on making it a million times worse and permanent. So to all the people who sit there and say, oh, our Premier saved us, what the hell is wrong with you? They didn't save anybody. They've been in the business of wiping people out. And they're in the business of coming back to wipe out a hell of a lot more people. So the people who are so committed to thinking that, oh, you know, our Premier from whichever state, oh, they saved us with all their lockdowns, all their measures. You're done. There's something not right with you. That's my opinion. I don't know, what's the term? You're cooked. Or your brain's not working. Or you refuse to accept simple, point-blank, barefaced reality. Now, I'm not sure why psychologically that's happening. Something's not right. But I can tell you right now, what I'm saying is true. You need to get on board with this. And if you actually care about your kids or your grandkids or your family, get your mind right and start understanding the facts. Because we don't have time. They're coming for them. It's that simple. And we have to act now. So on that note, I'll just say, once again, if you want to give Billboard Battalion a hand, look at our website, go to our donate section, because as we always say, what we're doing is costing a lot, and any help that we can get is gratefully accepted. Spread this around. Talk to your neighbours. Talk to the people in town, the farmers, the people who work in industry or in the unions. It doesn't matter. Spread this stuff around and let them know what's happening. And we need to get pushy. There's no more time to muck around. Push this issue because it's so serious. In another couple of months, we might be out of time. They might wave the checkered flag and then it's just a downhill spiral to the end. So this is that serious. So once again, Wade Northhausen here for Billboard Battalion. We're broadcasting from the showgrounds here in Rockhampton, where they're going to hold Beef 2024 in just days from now. And we might do a little bit of footage from around. We'll put up on our live tomorrow, and that way people can see some of the construction that's happening and all that sort of thing. So, all right, people, thank you. Stay safe, stay in the game, stay in the fight, because that's where we need to be. We'll call it quits at that. Thanks for a lot.